Metal Driver here, and today I am doing a figure and vehicle review of the Michael Keaton Batman and Batmobile from the new Flash movie. I'm really excited for this. I was patiently waiting for McFarlane Toys to ship this out to me. They took their sweet time. Other people got theirs shipped out a couple weeks before mine, even though I pre-ordered within the first 10 minutes. I'm not bitter, but I'm glad I have it, as I am a huge Michael Keaton Batman fan. The '89 film was my introduction to Batman, so Michael Keaton has always had a special place in my heart as a Batman fan, and it is so cool that he is returning, and now we are getting a modern Keaton figure from that film, and a Batmobile that scales with the figure. This combo right here is a wet dream for any Michael Keaton Batman fan, but let's not waste any more time. Let's go ahead and open these up and take a closer look at Batman and the Batmobile. So first in the review, I'm going to take a look at Batman, and here he is. The details on the figure, which looks pretty good at first glance, and it comes with a few accessories that include a DC figure stand and trading card, which come with all the DC Multiverse figure from the McFarlane line, which is fine. It's not something that I get excited for, and if McFarlane ever stopped including these, I probably wouldn't really care, but it is still nice that we have it. I do like this image of Keaton on the card. It's the same as the image on the back of the packaging. It looks nice. It kind of reminds me of the Batman Returns art style on the packaging on those old Kenner figures. And then we get a data file read-up on the back of the card, which if you want to read, you can go ahead and pause and do that. He also comes with two-fisted hands because Keaton gives beatings. And finally, he comes with the grappling gun and the Batarang. Both retain their 1989 film design. I don't know if this is how it's going to look in the Flash movie. I haven't seen too many of the trailers. I've been kind of avoiding them, and I'm not sure if they're supposed to be silver in the new movie, but they are sculpted nicely. It looks pretty good, so it is nice that we get these. And speaking of nice, let's look at that head sculpt, and I think it does look nice for the most part. It does not have the absolute best likeness to Keaton, but I think it looks good enough, and considering it is a $20 to $25 figure, I think it looks good enough. I'm not going to complain too much. I do love the sculpting on the cowl. I like how smooth it looks. Reminds me of the Batman Returns cowl. The ears are nice and long, a little bit thick on the end at the top, but again, nothing too bad. Again, for a retail figure, I'm not going to be overly critical on how the head sculpt looks. It looks enough like Michael Keaton. I'm happy with it so far. Could it be better? Yes, but still nice looking. The paint on the eyes look pretty good, and they don't seem to be painted like it's looking straight at me. It is kind of looking off to the side, but it's nowhere near as bad as those head sculpts that McFarlane was doing for a couple of years where they were all giving the side-eyed look, so this one doesn't look as bad, which is great. I hate the side-eyed look. Mouth looks good. It could be a little bit poutier because Keaton's got pretty thick lips. Paint looks good on the side. Nice side profile of the mask, which looks pretty good. I like that. Looks good from the back. And then you do get these scallops at the bottom of the cowl, which looks nice. Then the emblem on the chest looks just like the Batman Returns emblem, which I really like. It's nice to see that on a figure, considering we don't really get the return suit often. In fact, I think the only time we got it was with Hot Toys. I would love it if McFarlane can give us a Batman Returns figure that is movie accurate. Looking at the body, again, this is the design from the Flash movie, so I'm going to assume it's pretty much accurate. I like the sculpting here on the chest, the abdomen. The arms look good. Got some shoulder pads here, which look pretty good. Pretty nice. The gloves has some sculpting here at the fins right here on the forearms, which look good. The belt is all black, not yellow. Again, accurate to the movie. The sculpting looks nice. It's got those capsules on the belt, which I always loved. Here's a look at the back of the figure. Sculpting right there. And on the legs. There's the bat butt. It's got some sculpting on the legs here. It's not a smooth piece, so I like that. I like that we don't get any laziness here from McFarlane as far as sculpting goes. And then you've got the boots here, which look very similar to how the '89 and the Return suit looks, which I'm glad they retained that design, that armored look here. I always love that. Now the boots do look like they have a little bit of washing on them, so I don't know if that's supposed to mimic dirt, but I like it. It looks nice. Sculpting on the feet right there, so that armor goes onto the shoe, the Nike shoe, although I don't know if he's wearing Nikes in the new Flash movie. And then some nice sculpting on the bottom of the shoe. Let's get a good look right there, so that looks nice. And then, finally, let's also look at this cape. Alright, I'm just going to say right off the bat, the cape is not perfect. It's not like a soft goods cape you would see with a Mezco figure or a Hot Toys or even SH Figure Arts, but I'm glad we have a soft goods cape. I would much rather get something like this than a plastic cape. I know a few people might like the plastic ones, but I don't. I like the cloth style ones, and it's not too bad. You can bring it up to the front so you can cloak Batman. Now again, doesn't look perfect, doesn't look 100% accurate, but I still think it looks pretty nice. It is lengthy and big, so I like that. So kudos to McFarlane for giving us something like this, so I'm really happy with having this over a plastic one. Now, what I'm probably going to do is buy a second Keaton Batman and customize that, give it a custom cape. I don't know if too many people have done that yet. I haven't really seen that many images of custom capes on this figure. I think I might have seen one. Hopefully it's not too difficult to take this cowl off, but looking at it, I think you should be able to peel this piece off where the scallops are. I don't think the emblem will come off. You should be able to detach it right here. You can see that that's probably where they glued it. I don't think it's one whole solid piece. I could be wrong, but even if it is, I might just try to cut it around here if that's easier, instead of removing the entire emblem with it. Hopefully that is the case. Give him a nice leathery looking cape, one that connects right here on the corners of the scallop of the cowl, so that way it drapes down on the front, giving him that perfect cloaked, draped look. But if I end up doing that, that'll be for another video, not this one here. Going over the articulation, the head is on a hinge. I believe it's a hinge, so it looks that high up and that far down, so I like that range of motion. Probably not going to be accurate considering the Keaton suits didn't have mobility in the head, so if you're someone that prefers accuracy, then I'm sorry, it's not. But for a figure, I prefer the head to be separate, so it can turn side to side, and it does tilt. So actually, I don't think that there's a hinge there. It might just be a double ball joint. Shoulder goes that high up. It probably should go higher. Okay, it does go higher, but I'm not going to force it because that shoulder pad is kind of big, so I don't want to damage it by forcing it. It rotates all the way around. There is a butterfly joint in there, bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, great range there, a swivel and a hinge at the wrist. He's got ball joints at the midsection and the waist, so he crunches pretty far forward and pretty far back, so I love that. Probably not going to be accurate to the actual suit, but again, I'm okay with that. He can twist at the waist and a little bit at the diaphragm, and he's got some great tilting action there. Legs go that far out, they go that high up. Let's see if there's a thigh cut in there. I don't think so. There is a little bit of a swivel inside that hip joint, but it's not that great. Probably if you loosen it up, you might get better range. He's got double jointed knees. Ankle goes that high up, that far down. He's got rotation at the ankle pivot, and toe articulation. Here is the McFarlane Toys Michael Keaton Batman next to the McFarlane Toys Robert Pattinson Batman with a custom cape. Here he is next to the Christian Bale Batman with no custom cape. I should give that figure one. Here he is next to the Mattel Val Kilmer Batman from Batman Forever. And honestly, I wouldn't mind if McFarlane Toys gave us a Val Kilmer Batman in 7-inch scale. That would be cool. Here he is next to the Mattel Movie Alfred, which yeah, doesn't work in scale, but it's still nice to see. Then I don't have the 1989 Mezco Batman figure to compare with this Batman, but I do have the NECA 1989 Keaton Batman, and unfortunately, they do not scale well. Is this Batman figure perfect? No, it's not. But for the price point, it can't really complain all that much, because it is pretty solid, and as a Keaton fan, really happy to have this in my collection. So if you are a fan of the 1989 film, the Returns film, I know this suit is not based on those, but again, if you are a Keaton fan, this is an absolute must-have and a no-brainer to pick up and add to your collection. But enough of the Batman, let's go ahead and look at the Batmobile. Alright, and now we're finally at the Batmobile, and this box is pretty big. Get a nice image of the vehicle on the front, along with an image of the actual toy on the back, along with Batman sitting in the seat. But enough of this box, let's go ahead and open this up and take a closer look at the Batmobile. When taking the vehicle out of the packaging, you'll notice that the fins are not on the Batmobile, they are separate, but this is the only assembly that you have to do, and they go in pretty easily. And then it also comes with this trading card that features an image of the Batmobile on the front and a read-up on the back, which again, I don't really care about these cards, but it is still nice that we get them. Now, looking at the Batmobile, and it is beautiful. It simply looks stunning. It looks exactly like how I remembered it when I watched the 1989 and the Batman Returns movie. McFarlane did not skip out on the details on the sculpting of this vehicle. It looks great. We see painted lights. The front turbine engine looks really nice. The side looks good. All the details all over the Batmobile looks amazing. Even underneath the car looks great. Got some sculpting there, including a sculpted bat symbol. The back side of the car looks great. Some paint detail on the lights. These aren't real lights, they're just painted. Got some silver here and there. There really isn't enough good things that I can say about this thing. It looks beautiful, great. Something that I've been wanting for a long time, ever since we got the NECA 1989 Batman. One of my first thoughts when I purchased that figure was, can't wait to have a Batmobile to go along with this. Hopefully that happens, and several years later it finally did. Now, with all the praise that I'm giving this vehicle, it is not perfect. It does not look 100% accurate to the 89 film. I'm assuming it looks accurate to the way it looks in the Flash movie. So if you're expecting it to look like how it did in the Tim Burton films, just be aware that it's not 100%, but it is very close. But the issue that I do have with the vehicle, it is glossy. I would have preferred a matte black instead, because you can probably see throughout the vehicle there are smudges from my hands all over the thing, so that is kind of annoying. The other thing is that the canopy is a slightly different color than the rest of the vehicle. It's more of a grayish color, a very dark gray, than the black that we see on the car. Now, I don't know if this is accurate to the Flash movie, if this was intentionally done to reflect how it looks in the movie, or if this was just a McFarlane choice. Either way, I'm not too crazy about it. I would have preferred a more uniform look as far as the black color. But these two issues, they don't hurt the vehicle. It doesn't hurt my enjoyment of it, because I absolutely love this thing. And speaking of the canopy, it does open with the press of a button. Once you push down on that button, you can slightly pull the canopy up and then slide it open. You see some details on the inside of the vehicle, which look nice. The dashboard looks good. The steering wheel looks nice, got a little bat symbol there, and the seat has some nice details. Another thing I want to mention is the wheels. They're not a hard plastic. They do feel rubbery, so I'm not sure if it is rubber or just a softer plastic, but I do appreciate that it doesn't feel hollow. The McFarlane Keaton Batman stands very well next to this vehicle, as it should, because that Batman is meant for this Batmobile. He does sit in pretty well in the car. Looks like he fits as he should. The only issue is that the ears are a bit long. They kind of protrude a bit, preventing you from closing it perfectly. I even tried tucking in his chin and bending him at the torso to see if that worked, and yeah, it didn't really work. So I'm assuming there's a way to finagle him inside the car so that he fits perfectly and you can close the door. So if you know how to do that, let me know, because I haven't really figured that out yet, and kind of want to move on instead of spending too much time on sitting him in the vehicle. But the NECA Batman does look really good standing next to this Batmobile, and he sits very well in there. The ears aren't too long because it is a shorter figure, and you can close the door, and he looks really nice. Now, as I said, I don't have the 89 Mezco Batman, but I'm assuming that he's going to stand really well with this Batmobile and sit well in there. I have seen pictures of people doing that. So if you have no interest in getting the McFarlane Batman, the Mezco one should look great next to this. And now comparing the new McFarlane Toys Michael Keaton Batmobile. Here it is next to the Kenner Dark Knight Collection Batmobile on the left and the Kenner Batman Returns Batmobile on the right. And seeing these vehicles from my childhood compared to the brand new one for modern figures looks so cool. It's nice seeing that change over the years, how it started and how it's going. Here's the McFarlane Batmobile next to the Mattel Dark Knight Batmobile. Here it is next to the Mattel Multiverse Justice League Batmobile. This is the non-RC version. Here it is next to the DC Collectibles Batman the Animated Series Batmobile. And that Batmobile is huge. Here is a different angle to show you how long that vehicle is compared to this one. And remember, that one's made for 6-inch figures, not 7-inch ones. Here it is next to the Hot Wheels RC see Batmobile from the Matt Reeves Batman movie. And then to compare the Batmobile next to some non-Batmobile vehicles, here it is next to the McFarlane Robert Pattinson Batcycle. Here it is next to the WWE Wreckin' Slam vehicle. Here it is next to the WWE Wreckin' Slambulance. And finally next to the WWE Wreckin' Rampage rig. This Keaton Batmobile is absolutely stunning. I am so happy that McFarlane Toys gave us this. Not very many companies are doing that these days, and some of the major ones out there are trying to charge an arm and a leg. Here, McFarlane gave us an affordable version. $60 is really not that bad. And this is, again, so good looking. This is something that I've been wanting, and I'm sure a lot of the Tim Burton Batman fans have been wanting for many, many years. I was hoping that some company would give us this ever since that NECA 1989 Batman figure was released, and finally years later we have one. Now, it's not a perfect vehicle. There are some minor issues that I personally have. Not too crazy about the glossy look of the vehicle, and that's mainly just because it gets smudged easily. Plus, I prefer a more matted black look. Then the canopy color does not match the rest of the vehicle. Again, these are just minor issues, nothing that hurts the figure. So I think this Batmobile is absolutely worth it. If you are a Batman fan, if you're a fan of the Tim Burton Batman movies, this is an absolute must-have. For any Batman fan out there, this is something that you absolutely need in your collection. This is such a great looking Batmobile. It's one of my favorite designs, and arguably one of the best designs of all the Batmobiles. So if you find this in stores, and this has been popping up at Macy's, pick it up. If you find it in stock online at retail price, it is beautiful. Pick it up, you won't regret it. Hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I'll see you next time.